Welcome to Mission in Motion, brought to you by the Christ Hospital Health Network. This is our space where we share the stories of our amazing team members. Through their voices, we celebrate the everyday moments, embrace the challenges, and are reminded of the deep sense of purpose that drives us all forward. So I'm very excited. We have Dr. Schilling here with us today, Dr. Jonathon Schilling. He is a general surgeon here at the Christ Hospital, but you also have many other titles. I'm going to let you share so I don't mess them up. So tell us, what other things do you do here?
Thanks, Jenny. We're happy to be here. This is actually 10 years this month of being at Christ Hospital. I'm a general surgeon. That's what I get up and do every day when I come to work. But I've had a good opportunity to have a lot of different roles at Christ Hospital with education, with leadership. Some of the things that I'm really involved in. I've been chair of the robotic steering committee. It's helped me in my professional journey as a robotic general surgeon, but also it helped me to develop robotics at Christ Hospital and help other surgeons and physicians and staff, for that matter, like build our robotic surgery program. So that's something I'm probably most proud of the hat I wear. In addition to that, I'm the division chief of general surgery. And I've also started a new journey this month where I'm the secretary and treasurer of med staff. And so that's a collection that are, finest physicians from all different specialties that, they get together with, patient safety and quality first and foremost. And, it's a wonderful group of physicians and physician leaders. And it's really my privilege to be a part of that leadership group. And so those are the things I do. But general surgeon is like the number one thing on this.
Yeah, well, it's a privilege to have you here at the Christ Hospital. And obviously you attaining all these leadership roles speaks volumes about, what you wanted to achieve here. And you've just kind of taken the reins and made it what you want it to be, which is incredible. But, at one point in your life, you weren't a surgeon. So tell us a little bit about, I know you're a Cincinnati boy, right?
Yeah.
So talk to us about where you grew up and kind of where you came from.
Absolutely. It's, so I'm 45 years old now, and I have been,
Maybe.
right? I have been a surgeon for 18 years. So not quite half of my life, but getting close. And you start thinking about, where were you before being a physician, being a surgeon, and these things. So, I'm a Cincinnati kid. I grew up in Claremont County. I'm in the countryside, and, I'm the eldest of three kids, and none of my family are in healthcare or anything like that. I didn't grow up wanting to be a doctor or a nurse or anything. I was interested in music and science. Those were my biggest passions. So I went to McNicholas High School out on the east side, and
Rockets.
Right, the Rockets. Had great mentors there, both in my music and my sciences, especially biology teacher. Shout out to Wedwish. Right. So, but my biggest thing was music. And I was an all-state saxophone player, bassoon player. I loved it. I loved performing. I loved doing it. I studied music more than anything else. School was kind of easy for me. I was blessed with that, but music was everything. And it was through all of my state competitions and in music where I came across some very, very good musicians.
All right.
Then they intimidated me.
No.
Absolutely. And I started having reservations about exploring music as my career. And so I went back to some of my high school days, and biology was a big part of my life, and genetics was kind of like the cool thing to do. And so I went to Miami University as a microbiology major. Major.
Yeah.
And I studied there for 4 years. I played a lot of music there too. Played in the jazz band there and some other things, but I studied microbiology, and I worked in a lab in science. Science was I was really into molecular genetics and virology and studying all these things. And it just kind of happened like almost 3 full years out of college. I just didn't have the spark for the bench science anymore. I was working in a basement by myself.
Yes.
With some test tubes and beakers, and I know it sounds extremely nerdy. It was. It just didn't motivate me. It wasn't as exciting as I thought it could be. And, there's certain times in your life you never forget. Yeah. And this one time my dad and I were walking in my yard back home where I grew up. And I just told him, I was like, Dad, look, I had taken the GRE to get into a graduate school, get a PhD. I was like, Dad, I'm not so sure I'm going to do it this way. Like, I have a major, and if I'm not getting a graduate degree, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And he just said, well, have you thought about medicine? And I'm like, no, not at all. It's crazy. And he challenged me. He's like, well, you don't know anything about it. No, I don't. I said, well, why don't you volunteer, get involved? So I did. Claremont Mercy Hospital down the street from my parents' house. I filled out a volunteer form, and this was still back in the days when you needed volunteers to run labs and pick up films and
Right.
things. I worked in the
Yeah.
emergency department there. Not for very long, but enough to understand that healthcare was what I was missing in my science.
Got it. The care piece.
This piece.
Yeah.
It's people.
It was people.
It was people. People make it fun,
Yep.
rewarding, crazy,
Yeah.
hard, but mostly rewarding.
Yep.
And after I'd seen that, I knew that healthcare was going to be my journey. And so then I started applying to medical school, and eventually made it through.
That's incredible. And then where did you end up in medical school?
So I went to UC.
Okay.
I actually spent a year working in a research lab at the National Institutes of Health in National UC. So I was still like I was in denial about research. I thought, wow, I'm going to go to medical school now, but maybe I'll get an MD and a PhD. Maybe I'll do this. Maybe I'll be a research doctor or something. And so I applied to MD, PhD type programs. I didn't get into any. But UC wanted me in medical school, and I asked him, man, I don't know, this research thing, no. This is what I was planning for my whole life. I had a really hard time letting it go. And so I accepted the UC program, but I deferred it for a year and moved to Washington, D.C. with a couple college buddies. We had a blast.
Yes, BC. What a cool town.
It was awesome.
Yep.
And I had a really great mentors at the NIH. Worked on some really sophisticated projects there. It was an amazing experience to work at the National Institutes of Health. And but the leader of our lab was a guy by the name of Stu Yuspa, and he's an MD. And I sat down with him a couple of times, like, Stu, like, here's what I'm thinking, like, and he's like, look, like, if you want to be a clinician, if you want to be an MD and you know it, and you're not sure about the research part, just be an MD.
Yeah.
The research, if you want it, will come.
Yes.
You don't. But if you want to embark on that journey, do that journey. And so he helped me be at peace with going to medical school, and maybe research would be a part of my life and career, or maybe not. But the clinical side, he pushed. And so that was the last kind of MD. So I went to medical school, moved back home to Cincinnati, and started 4 years of medical school at UC. And it was great. Medical school was great. UC was fantastic. I had met so many good friends there. You start medical school and you think you're just like in super college.
Yeah.
And then when you graduate, you're like, all of my classmates are doctors now.
Yes.
Super weird.
That's awesome.
Because you don't feel like anything different.
Yeah.
You just feel like you went through school again.
Yeah.
And you start getting into residency, and you start feeling this other feeling. And now all of a sudden, not only do you have the title of MD, but now that you're trained and you have clinical abilities and knowledge and skills and and mentors and mentees, and like, you're just part of that process now. You're like, wow, like, this is crazy. And getting to devote your life to do it, like, it changes you as a person 100%. And not everybody, I think, is prepared for all the changes. There's ups and downs of it, and you have to talk about it. But these kinds of things are cool because you get to learn people's lives.
Absolutely.
But that's the fun thing about it, is like, healthcare is it is a profession. It is not just a job. This is something where you become this person.
Yes.
And it is part of you, woven into your fabric, and then you express, and you get to come to a great place like this and work and meet all the other people on the same journey here. It's great.
Yeah. Well, and it's clear in how you've kind of positioned yourself in the organization. You come in and, you obviously got trained in general surgery and came into it, but you knew that robotics was an area that you wanted to grow in and grow the organization in. And tell us a little bit about that journey there, because prior to you, I don't even, we maybe had one robot, maybe.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's I was kind of stumbled into that. So I trained at Good Samaritan Hospital for my residency. I trained there for 5 years, and then I left Cincinnati. Actually, I got married. I got my trained at Good Sam and Triumph, and then I moved to South Carolina and I started a practice there. I had great mentors down in South Carolina, And for 3 years, I did very good, general surgery. Not robotic general surgery, but just very, bread and butter general surgery. It was, part of a community. Had did mandatory. My son was born there.
Yeah.
That's where I started, and I'll never forget that part. It was a tough decision to leave, but having children, and my wife and I are both from here.
Yeah.
We were both far from parents.
Yeah.
And so, I was told that, we're not going to have a second child until we get closer to home, and either closer to family.
Sure.
And so an opportunity came up through some friends here at Christ Hospital, and when I came to interview with Victor Pillow,
Yeah.
I didn't tell my parents. I was here for less than 24 hours.
Oh
Flew
my
in,
gosh.
interviewed, flew home, because I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get my hopes up. I didn't know what I was getting into or not coming back here. I didn't know, I needed to learn about the job and see how it fit in and everything. I was, we were on our own in South Carolina, and I was just throwing in roots. And with everybody that I met at Christ, with the job opportunity here. And so, flash forward to 10 years ago, in September, I started working at Christ Hospital in general surgery. And now the state of the robotics program, it had been going on for about 10 years at that point.
Okay.
They were doing robotic hysterectomies and prostate surgeries. Dr. Cox and Dr. Boyd.
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
And we had 2 robots, the SI version of the robot, and they were definitely not as sophisticated as the equipment we have now. But they were very, top of the line, back then. And so I was new to the hospital, new to the group, and as a new surgeon, you're not instantly busy. You have to get to know people and meet all the primary care doctors and learn your way around the hospital, and you start to grow a practice, and people figure out who you are and what kind of surgeries you like to do and everything. So as I have a lot of free time on my hands, I go to a lot of meetings. I'm figuring out what are the things in general surgery that are new and exciting.
Yep.
Well, it turned out in 2014 a new robot had been released, one with a lot of advanced capabilities, one that was exciting a lot of general surgeons.
All right.
Drawing them into it. And so our hospital did not have it. I went to several meetings, and really, the people on the cutting edge of general surgery and minimally invasive surgery were starting to incorporate robotics into their program, into the practice. And so I felt that this was a perfect opportunity for me to get involved. Mm-hmm. So lo and behold, I not really held a lot of leadership positions in hospitals, really. I was still only, 4 years out from my training. And so when I went and asked, hey, can I start? I want to start learning how to do robot surgery. I'm like, well, we don't really know what to do with you. You didn't train on it as a resident. Nobody's doing the kinds of stuff you want to do here. So I'm like, okay. So it's really, I go all the way back to working with credentialing committees, and all these different committees that
it all pushed through.
I didn't really understand a lot of how medical leadership, med staff and leadership and things worked that well. Mm-hmm. I was just kind of going with the flow.
Yeah.
So I had to learn a lot of stuff and learn about processes, and you learn about quality and safety and all these different things when you're going through it. So I was able to then become credentialed to do robotic surgery, and by 2016 was doing it. And that whole process showed me a lot. It taught me a lot about how this hospital works, but how hospitals work in general, and kind of the underbelly, the people who aren't, they might not be providing care to patients, but they're doing a lot for the hospital. A lot of heavy lifting goes on behind the scenes in the administrative world that I had no idea anything about. And so I started to respect that a lot more and understand it, what I didn't know, a lot more. And so once I started working on my robotics skill set and in my practice, it was I could see that this was going to be something big, and quickly tried to help colleagues build and grow and adapt to robotics. And so we kind of revamped the robotics steering committee. And so as chair of that, really from a multidisciplinary stage, from leadership top down, making sure that not only were we doing something that was safe and had high quality to it, but something that was cost effective. Really, the mission statement for Christ Hospital, leveraging technology to provide excellent care at a reasonable cost. I think that's what's resonated with robotic surgery,
100%.
Because it looks and feels like it have an expensive price tag, and it doesn't have to be.
Correct.
It can provide amazing quality, and it can be very cost effective.
Absolutely.
So that with that mission in the last 10 years or so, that's what the robotic steering committee has meant to me, and to a lot of surgeons who are using those platforms. And we're still strategically growing and developing that program. So that's been kind of my baby, pretty much since I started here. And I just love seeing that continue to grow and be useful for people who want to come here and use robotic surgery as part of their practice.
And it feels like it merges kind of all your passion points, because, when we talk about it and when I see, first you're bringing it, you're doing the research to bring it to the Christ Hospital. You're doing the research to understand why this is better for patients. You're writing business performas to understand the financial impact of it and the quality impact of it. And now you're even helping perfect the analytics of the piece itself, to be able to perfect every interaction you have with it. Because I know now it has a lot of intelligence that allows you to say, do this a little bit better, try that a different way. So it feels like you're still getting to live out your research dream through this space.
And that's, you're exactly right, Jenny. Like for me, the research piece wasn't, at a lab bench, with beakers and test tubes. For me, it is this kind of research. Adapting, I didn't invent the robot. I didn't invent robotic surgery. But being able to adopt these kinds of practices, takes some time. You have to meet people that are doing it. You have to go to them and watch these surgeries, and you have to go to meetings and work in cadaver labs and work on simulators and read the data and be part of conversations about how to do this. I mean, prior to 2015 and 16, when I started doing robotic general surgery, there were lots of gynecologists and urologists who've been using this machine for a decade and were very good at it. But they were doing very complex surgeries, and that's kind of where Christ was back then.
Right.
Yes, the robot's great for complicated hysterectomies, complicated prostatectomies, but why are you going to use it for a gallbladder? Why is that important? We don't want to make a gallbladder surgery cost too much money. I'm like, I don't need it.
Yeah, right.
I just want the best quality I can
for the patient.
I mean, I don't think it's unreasonable to just demand perfection every time.
Right. Yeah.
One of my mentors, he gave me a quote, and I'll never forget it. And it's like, in surgery, unlike baseball, a great baseball player, if you had a lifetime batting average of 300, that's amazing. That means you hit three hits for every 10 at bats.
Yep.
If you told your patients,
right,
you batted at 300 in the operating game, they walk right out the door.
Absolutely.
You have to bat 1,000 every time.
Yeah.
And so, I, saw robotics as a way to get my average up.
Right. Yes.
As close as you can be. And so, yeah, I mean, like, there are, and the cost piece is part of it, the logistics piece, the education piece. There's lots of different moving parts to make it work. And that's what the robotic steering committee does. And that was like the fun thing that, I realized, that's what you do.
Yeah. Well, I know my team loves working with you. I mean, it's honestly an easy sell, right? I mean, smaller incision, shorter length of stay, better outcomes overall. I mean, there's so many benefits and, different downstream outcomes that you might not see on the front end all the time, but at the end of the day, it is better for the patient.
I agree. I think, part of it is because there's a lot of terminology differences, like the difference between a laparoscopic surgery and a robotic surgery.
Yes.
Laparoscopic surgery is small incisions too, and there's lots of benefits of laparoscopic surgery, but laparoscopic surgery has a few more limitations for most general surgeons, or most surgeons in general, than does robotics. And so where I saw, especially early on, where I saw robotics really outperform laparoscopic surgery, is like there's a collection of patients and cases that would benefit from minimally invasive type surgery, but they were candidates of traditional laparoscopic surgery.
Yep, sure.
And so then having this new tool of robotics gave me options of offering minimally invasive surgery to patients previously not offering minimally invasive surgery.
Oh.
And so once I captured that patient population, I would do these cases and I saw how good they would. And I'm like, man, these patients are doing great.
Yes.
Better than some laparoscopic cases I would do.
Yeah.
Take a laparoscopic inguinal hernia. Great case. I learned to do them from some of the best. And up until 2016, that's the way I did them all. or most. And when I started doing them robotically, which is basically the same surgery, just different tools, a little bit different type of procedure, but um, the outcomes, the difference was the laparoscopic patients took narcotic pain medication, the robotic ones did.
Yep.
And
Benefit in and of itself.
that alone, I was like, well, if I had to get, I did that. Well, if it was me, what would I do? Test
right.
Well, if it was me having to get a hernia repair, I want it robotically. So I'm going to offer a robotic hernia surgery to everybody.
Yes.
The hospital backed me. We made sure that it was cost effective, cost control.
Yeah.
And then, the rest is history. Then we started offering this type of experience for more people and anybody that is a good candidate, which is most, not all, but most. Then it becomes great. And you get the patient feedback and everything. And so that has been a really rewarding journey to be able to kind of, start have a starting off spot at getting to a goal that I didn't even really know the goal was there until we started doing these cases, and then just watching the patient outcomes and following the data and following the trends of what other surgeons, not only countrywide but worldwide, are doing. It's funny because a lot of this information, a lot of surgeons actually communicate. We communicate on Facebook.
Oh, wow.
We have closed Facebook groups.
Yeah.
And so these are groups that are closed off to like the community, but surgeons have to apply and then they become members of these Facebook groups.
All right.
And we're able to share without, patient information.
Sure. Yeah.
We share cases and experiences, and, you can't learn this stuff in textbooks. But by the time these things are in textbooks, it's old.
Yes.
And so, this is where modern day, this is the water cooler for a surgeon.
Yeah, that's so
it's
cool.
just crazy.
Yeah.
But it's a perfect platform. We can share videos and experiences and make contacts. So I can call people and say, hey, look, I'm doing this kind of case. Like, is this the right approach? Do you have any tips or anything?
Absolutely.
It's like a wonderful community to be a part of.
Yeah.
Just to get my foot in the door and to kind of be a part of this community is great.
No, and I do. I feel like you yourself seem to be a lifelong learner, but it feels like you like to mentor the next kind of generation as well, which is a huge advantage for us, especially as we continue to grow, just not general surgery, but just surgeons in general. And I'm even more excited now that you're taking on some more, roles on the med staff level, because, for those of you that don't know, in his position now, this essentially you work your way up to medical staff president. That'll be in 6 years, or Dr. Lamar, Dr. Olszewski, and then you for 2 years. So
that'll be in 4 years.
Yes, yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. So thrilled to have you at the helm. I think you're learning from great people ahead of you. We got a really strong med staff now, and just really cool that you're willing to take on those leadership positions, because a lot of young people don't want to do that anymore.
I'd say, it's because of a couple of things. My experience with robotics got my foot in the door. And, I think Dr. Devitt was either in credentialing or president when I was going through my robotics journey early on.
Yep.
And so I had to talk to him and work on that. I was kind of intimidated. I didn't really know much about med staff leadership then. And the credentialing process was kind of vague to me. I just wanted to operate. Right?
Yes.
And so now these are, great friends of mine and mentors, and I understand a lot more about how this works. And when approached to be part of med staff, I was like, okay, sounds like a lot of work. It's a little intimidating, but conversations with Dr. Manders and Manley and Lamar and Dr. Olszewski, people, my colleagues, my friends, like people that I could call if I have a problem with anything, or people that call me if they have a problem, they need my help. I mean, it's such a good community. They were able to share elements of their journey through med staff, and it all of a sudden became very doable, because nobody's asking you to go on and be president like day one. Here you go. Here's the pile of stuff. Good luck.
Right. Or wait, yes, you have a team around you too.
So, I have no doubt that in 4 quick years, I'll be ready to take this on, and I'll be excited for that journey. I think it'll change me yet again. I mean, you don't, like I said earlier, you don't get into healthcare expected to not be changed.
Yes.
I mean, taking care of people in some of their most vulnerable states, when they depend and rely on you for things. I mean, it's it's a big task. It's a privilege. It's an honor to do it. And leadership is really the same thing. I mean, it's incredibly thankless at times, and you have to make difficult decisions. And nobody does it for a reward. I think they do it because it's their passion to do it, and they have a calling to do it. And despite whatever however inconvenient it may seem sometimes, I think the privilege is mine to be able to be a part.
Yeah. Well, we're very lucky to have you in that role. So the last question I'll ask you, because I know everyone's dying to know now, what is your musical life now? Are you still playing the saxophone? Are you still in a jazz band? Like, how are you harnessing your musical talent?
Not enough. I'll be totally honest with that. Not enough at all.
Well, you don't have a lot of spare time, so.
But I'm available for hire. Saxophone player, but no, I mainly do it through my kids.
Okay.
My children right now. I have a second grader and a sixth grader. They were both infatuated with music of all types. So we bust out the saxophone, the keyboard, and guitar. And,
you got like the Von Trapp family in the house. I dig it.
Well, music still plays such an important role in my life, and now even though I'm not like performing or part of a regular band, I use music all throughout my life in various forms, and whether it's teaching my kids how to love an instrument, love music, or just listening to music and operating me.
Yes. What's your go-to music in the house?
It's all over the place.
Yeah.
But people would say if you talk to people who work in my operating room, they generally enjoy my music selection.
Okay. A nice range.
It's all the music.
Okay.
I don't enjoy just one genre. Maybe it depends on the mood. Maybe it depends on the type of phase, the type of people I have in the room, because we get a lot of same people in your cases. So like I know what musical tastes people have.
Okay.
But ever since I was a resident, I started a playlist, and I add songs to it based on what other people like date requests, and so people will put music onto this playlist.
Oh my gosh!
So for like 15 plus years. This is a playlist of like people I've worked with for over the last 15 years, whether at Triumph, in South Carolina, here, people I used to work with, people I still work with. And so like, songs will come on. I was like, that's Robsey's song.
Yeah.
That's.
I love this. So cool.
There's songs that remind me of people, and because I know that's the song and so that is a really cool element to my playlist. I like to share that. It helps lighten up it helps create a mood. It sparks conversation. It lets people relax a little bit. I think people perform better when they're relaxed.
Sure.
So it's scary.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be, but it can be.
Absolutely. It's the last rusher.
Yeah. So I find that, by playing music, it's a conversation piece that people don't know. Like, hey, guess what? Your surgeon's a person too. Like, I'm not just some hard ass that's like, all mean and gruffy and stuff. Like, I can be, and sometimes you have to be.
You got to be.
There might sometimes, when you're doing intense things, like you have to, turn music down, focus.
Yes.
But a lot of times, you're using the music to calm the environment down. I always tell people, operating is like playing music on stage. You're in the side. You're the, everyone's looking at you.
Yeah.
You're performing. You start a surgery, you have to finish there.
Yeah.
And you have a plan. You have a script. You have the sheet of music you're playing off of, and you're going to follow it as close as you can, or you may have to make a tweak here, tweak there. And, you hope at the end of the day, at the end of the performance, you've done something good, something beautiful, something that somebody wanted, and so like for me, like, going all the way back to why does being a surgeon fit me so well? Because I want to be a musician, and it's like the same thing.
The same thing.
More
sweet symphony. Yeah, a little more.
But it is, and it's.
But you're still making people happy.
Right, and so I just get to let someone else play the music. I just get to listen to it.
Yes. So I think what I heard is if anyone has a song request or they want added to Dr. Schilling's playlist, send it to employee.communications.com. It will make sure he gets it. So
I take requests from patients if they need if they need a special song to listen to. Yeah, I mean, music's a powerful thing. I use it all the time in my practice.
Love it. Awesome. Well, I'm so glad to hear. And thank you so much for joining us.
This is great.
Yeah. So we're excited for people to hear, and it's going to be a good one. So thank you.
Sweet.